With the Omicron variant now racing across the country and new COVID cases at a record high, the debate over whether schools should remain open or, as some have done, go to remote learning just temporarily. The nation averaging 400,000 new cases a day. That's up 200% in just the past 2 weeks. Tonight, the FDA has now authorized a booster for teens 12 to 15 years old, and for everyone 12 and older, teens and adults who got the Pfizer vaccine. The FDA now saying no longer wait 6 months to get that booster, get it after 5 months. Tonight, COVID staff shortages contributing to the cancellation of more than 3,000 flights. Just as many now return home from the holidays. Washington, D.C.'s Reagan National Airport hit especially hard by COVID. The TSA reporting more than 2,600 of its employees have active COVID infections, and they got that storm today, too. And long lines for testing across the country. This is Margate, Florida, you're looking at. And in New York's Times Square, the demand causing longer and longer waits for results. Schools taking different approaches. Cleveland and Atlanta, for example, starting the new year with remote learning. Chicago and Boston staying with in-person learning, with Massachusetts distributing more than 227,000 rapid tests to staff. And here in New York City tonight, the largest school system in the country, they were open today, handing out masks and wrapping up testing. Dr. Ashish Jha standing by to answer your questions, but we're going to begin tonight with ABC's Trevor Ault leading us off right here in New York.
Tonight, millions of students starting the new year back in the classroom with COVID cases exploding. Today, the FDA authorizing Pfizer booster shots for 12 to 15-year-olds, and regulators now recommending everybody 12 and up originally vaccinated with Pfizer get their booster after 5 months instead of 6.
It's more important now than ever for all teens to go out there and get all 3 of their vaccinations.
America's now averaging 400,000 cases a day, up a staggering 200% in the past 2 weeks. School districts like Atlanta, Cleveland, and Milwaukee switching to remote learning for the time being. But the nation's biggest district, New York City, today welcoming back students in person, handing out upgraded masks and ramping up testing as New York City's new mayor vows to keep kids in the classroom.
We are going to keep our schools open.
But many parents don't agree. Some refusing to send their kids to school, others anxious dropping them off this morning.
I'm just worried, really worried for my kid because he has asthma and I have cancer. So, it's like a double whammy.
How do you feel coming back to school today?
Well, I don't think it's the right decision on the part of the administration.
In Chicago, FedEx drop boxes overflowing with return test kits that some parents say couldn't be processed in time for the start of school.
How can I allow my children to come back and they don't even have a negative or it's a positive result?
Testing giant Quest Diagnostics tells ABC recent demand has stretched their average processing time to 2 or 3 days, and the testing crunch may only be growing. This line today in Worcester, Massachusetts, crowds including parents and their children braving bitter cold. And tonight, after backlash over the new CDC recommendations cutting isolation time in half to 5 days with no negative test needed, Dr. Anthony Fauci now signaling the guidelines are under review yet again.
There has been some concern about why we don't ask people at that 5-day period to get tested. That is something that is now under consideration. The CDC is very well aware that there has been some pushback about that.
Once again, more than 100,000 Americans are now in the hospital with COVID, a number expected to climb. And while some are learning they're positive at the hospital, the vast majority are being treated for the virus. And nearly all in the ICU at Children's Hospital New Orleans are too young to be vaccinated.
Sadly, some of them are going to die. And the tragedy of this is that almost all of those cases that result in hospitalization and death are preventable with vaccination.
At Texas Children's, a third of patients are under 5, including several babies with COVID. In South Carolina, Tyler Jones and his wife are boosted, but their 3-month-old Addison, who's too young to get the vaccine, got sick with COVID New Year's Eve.
He woke up in the middle of the night crying and having trouble breathing, and he had a fever, and you feel helpless because, your 3-month-old can't communicate what hurts. I mean, there's nothing scarier as a parent.
We're thinking about the families going through this, particularly with those very young children. Trevor Ault with us tonight. And Trevor, the FDA authorizing those booster shots now for 12 to 15-year-olds. We know the CDC meets next on this. So walk us through the timeline. How soon could we see these teens get the shots?
Well, David, the CDC panel is going to be meeting on Wednesday. They're going to make a recommendation then. And once the director, Dr. Walensky, signs off on it, then things are going to move very quickly. We could see these first boosters given out as early as Thursday. David?
All right, and as you can see there, Trevor, all in front of one of those very long testing lines here in New York City tonight. Trevor.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.